How's everybody doing? I'd like to do a lesson on facial expression today. So we've got a number of facial expressions we're going to learn. First, we're going to work through those, and then after we get through them, I'd like to practice combining them, maybe taking the eyes from one and the mouth from another and seeing what expressions we can get. So there's a couple of things I'd like to talk about first off, just so you understand the importance of this. The facial expressions that Sponge Robert has are really important to understanding his emotions. Think about for a second, if you had someone who came up to you and they were frowning and they said, "I am really happy with you right now," you would immediately know that something's really off because they're frowning at you, but their words are positive. So the point with that illustration is to show you that someone's face tells you more about how they're feeling than their words. So facial expressions are very important. Another thing that happens is that if you cross two expressions, let's say we put angry eyes on a smiling mouth, you'll get a pretty angry expression, or at least the eyes tell the story more than the mouth does. So the eyes are going to be a very important part of this. So let's get started. We'll start off with one of the easier ones, which is just going to be a standard happy face. So we've got two eyes that are circular and form a sideways 8 shape. And one eye is on top of the other. So this one is going to block that one just on the left side there. Next, we can start with some pupils and irises. That is the part in the middle of the eye. It's like a little ring with a black circle in the middle of it. And with this particular guy, the pupils are close to the center of the eyes. Now, to show that the eyes are wide open, we can add some eyelashes up here, and we're just going to use a square-ish shape for these eyelashes because that's the way this guy's usually drawn. Okay, I hope you were drawing lightly so that you can erase some of the bottom of the eye, and we can put the nose in. Now, the nose is going to be kind of a funny shape here. It's like a deflated balloon shape. It's circular on one end and straight on the other end. And this shape will come in handy for also making certain shapes of mouth. And it'll also come in handy for the nose. So we're actually going to flip it the other way, where the circle is on this end and the straight ends are over here. And we've got the nose shape. Next, we're going to make a smiley face. Make sure that this smile is close to the nose, not touching, but pretty close because the face is all in one little area. We're going to make a half circle shape on this side for the cheek, and you can put another cheek over here if you want. You can even dot it with some freckles. And if you were coloring, these cheeks would be orange, whereas most of the other lines would be black. Okay, now don't forget, one of the distinguishing characteristics here is these big square teeth coming down from the smiley curved line, and a little wavy line right here where the teeth kind of push the bottom lip down a little bit. Okay, good. So that's our basic face. We can just add wavy lines that create a rectangle around it to create the body. Good. We'll take care of the other part of this later, the square pants. We'll just put a big rectangle there for right now. All right, let's do one of the harder ones. This is a scary face. Now it starts off with a shape that looks just like a goldfish. So if you were to draw a goldfish, it might look something like this. Now I want you to think, what would a goldfish look like if we pushed it down right here you would get a line that looks like this. So that's the shape of the mouth. It's pretty simple when you look at it this way. So let's do it. We're gonna throw that shape right in here. Have that line sloping down, coming back around, up, and creating the fins of your goldfish. Next, we have two big eyes. Now the eyes are gonna be right above the mouth, and they're gonna be very large in comparison to the eyes that we did before, because this is a face of fear, and the bigger the eyes, the more scared this guy is gonna look. So I'm drawing very lightly so that I can erase the parts that are over others. There's gonna be a little bit more erasing that has to happen down here, because we're gonna have to draw the eyelids. So the eyelids are gonna come across just like this, and they're also gonna have a little bit of the bottom of the eye, so you don't have to erase too much. The main thing is just gonna be adding a line right here. And we've got bottom eyelids. But let's make sure we don't forget the nose. This head is kind of tilting back because he's in shock. So we're gonna see the bottom of his nose, and that means his nose is gonna point up a little bit more. We're gonna add the pupils to his eyes. One goes right behind the nose, and we can make them different sizes. So the cool thing about facial expressions is that things can squash and stretch and change shape as you see fit. It doesn't even matter that in real life, the iris part and the pupil part of an eye doesn't change shape at all, but we can make them change shape to show expression. So this one is bigger than that one because that lends a look of confusion and fear, which is what we're going for in this particular case. Okay, let's add the teeth. The teeth are another thing that can change shape. We made them very square up here. We can make them a little bit wider at the bottom in this case, just to show that things are off, right? So if shapes are off, emotion also looks off too. Fear is one of those emotions that's off. It's not what we were made for. All right, there we go. And we're gonna add a tongue into the mouth here. So we've got a U shape, letter U, with an M shape on top. And then you can just add two lines that connect it back down to the bottom of the mouth. And if you want, you can hint at the back of the throat there with a little line. Okay, let's connect all this stuff together by creating the shape of the head. So we want the eyes to remain looking very big, and one of the ways we can do that is to make the rest of the body a little bit smaller in comparison. You see how there's a lot of space right here in between the top of the eyes and the top of the head? In this one, there's not going to be any space there because the eyes have grown so huge in fright that they come close to the top of the head, and we can hardly even see the other side of the head behind this eye. Let me strengthen that line just to get things to stand out. All right, next, we can add the back of the character's body. So we're gonna go this way and stop. From here, we're gonna go this way. So wavy line coming down in that direction. And then we can come across with where the pants would be, but the mouth is so big, it's actually hanging over the bottom of the pants. Kind of fun. Let's add some extra lines around the corners of the mouth just to get the mouth to look like it has some lips. And I do want to shade the eyes in just a little bit. If you're going to color this later with marker, you might want to do that in marker instead of pencil because it'll help look even darker and stronger. Okay, so that is a fearful expression. If you'd like, what you could do is pause the video and copy these two. We've got anger and surprise, but I think instead I'd like to mix them up and try something different. So what I might do is take an angry mouth and why don't we do a pair of worried eyes and just see what happens. So I'm going to take this angry mouth. I'm going to start out with that deflated balloon shape that we talked about earlier. It goes like this. And then we're going to come in with the teeth. Now we see a lot of bottom teeth in this one, and they are square shaped. If you remember the movie Inside Out, Anger, it was a little square. I think squares tend to be good angry shapes. And we're going to add the top teeth up here. And let's add a little straight line that goes back and to the left right here. That's going to be in between the nose and the mouth. So the nose is going to come out with that same shape that we made the mouth out of, just facing the other way. And down here, I would like to change the curve of this mouth just a tiny bit so it's going down, and add a little wavy line like we did with a happy face right here. Now we just need to add some worried eyes. So for worried type eyes, we're going to add that same figure 8 shape, but we want to make sure that the top is erasable because the brows are going to come up over the top of the eyes right here. And instead of sloping down like angry eyes, angry eyebrows would, they're actually going to slope upwards. That is, they're high up here in the middle and they're low out on the edges. Okay? And we are going to add a nice big pupil right there. And let's not forget that the other eye is on top of this one. So if it overlaps, this one's going to get a little bit erased. This one, that is. Okay. Let's not forget to erase the top of this eye and add another worried eyebrow that goes up from the outside to the inside. Good. We can add an extra line up here just to emphasize that he has these worried eyebrows that are sloping up like this, and see what facial expression we got. So this is my first time doing this particular expression, and it looks to me like it's gone from anger, which we had earlier with the same mouth, to an intense form of worry. So like I said, the eyes tell the story. If you put worried looking eyes on a SpongeBob, the mouth, even if it's an angry type mouth, is gonna look worried. All right, so let's get into how you would finish one of these drawings off. You're welcome to take any of these expressions that you'd like to do. If you're gonna do a surprised face like this one, it's fairly simple. It's just that deflated balloon shape for the nose, really big eyes, really big pupils, and then the mouth is just a moon shape, which is one curved line, then you go from the ends of each part of the curved line back to the top of the curve. And I'd like to see you take one set of eyes with another mouth and put them together however you'd like and see what happens. You could put extremely freaked out eyes with a smiling mouth and see what that looks like, or an angry mouth with surprised eyes, It's all up to you. But let's go to a finished version. Let's see. Got a sketch I did earlier of a standard SpongeBob. I don't know if it's showing up a little bit on the camera, so we should be able to just color it in here. So we're gonna make the front yellow, and we're also gonna coat the sides with some yellow as well, and I'll show you a little trick to get it to look like it's shaded. I'm gonna cover pretty much everything on the face except for the teeth here, going around the teeth, because those should not be yellow. The yellow is a good first step, because if we do black first, as we saw last time with our sun moon drawing, that black can get mixed in with the yellow and starts to look off. Did I say I was covering everything in yellow except the teeth? I also want to make sure I don't cover the eyes in yellow for obvious reasons. So let's go around the eyes and fill all of this in with yellow. Now, if you look at a SpongeBob drawing, you'll see that on the side, you've got a greenish color, okay? That greenish color is not very bright green, but it helps to look a little bit shaded, kind of like with the Steve drawing we did a couple weeks ago. I want to show you a way to get that greenish color without getting too bright of a green. At least in theory, this should work. I haven't actually done it yet. Let's see. So if we take gray and mix it with the yellow on the bottom, the gray should shade and give us a slightly more greenish color without getting too green. So it just adds a little bit of shading onto the side of this drawing. Okay, that worked all right. Not quite as green as I would have expected, but you know what? We don't want it to be too green anyways, so that's fine. As far as drawing the pants, you can start out with a wavy line on top. Let me just outline this in marker so it's easy to see. You want a wavy line on top. Okay, then the next step would be to create a rectangle with that wavy line as its top. And then if your SpongeBob has a back edge, you want to add a little trapezoid shape on the back just to show it going backwards. Then we're going to create a tie right here by making two lines that go in, then stop and make the two lines go out, and then connect the lines back together in the middle. Then we do a flat line that runs behind it so it doesn't go over top of the tie, and we add rectangles along the bottom under that line for the belt. You can even add a rectangle back here that has slanted edges so that it looks like it's going back. Okay, next, little triangular shapes right under the wavy line for the collar. And we're gonna be ready to color this in just a second, but I wanna go over the other features real quick. We've got a bell shape for the upper sleeve, other bell shapes for the pant legs, and then just a part of one here on the back for this arm. All his legs are like noodles, just sticks, simple straight lines. All his limbs, I should say. There we go. Next, we've got the shoes. So the shoes are kind of like the eyes that we drew earlier in that they're almost like an 8, except on this one, this part of the 8, we're gonna draw 2 angled lines just to get the flatness of the heel of the shoe. There we go. The hands, likewise, are little bell shapes, just like the sleeve was. So think this shape. And then the fingers go this way. So let's put that on here. Bell shape, fingers down and to the left with a curvy line for the ends. And you can add a little half circle on here for the thumb. Same thing on the other side. Let's just use a very similar hand. And there we've got the rest of the SpongeBob. Okay, so I want to fill this in with some spots. So we've got our gray color out, and I'm just going to add some spots here and there. Maybe one here, maybe one here, and one here, one here. Let's finish up drawing that face. We're using that same smiley face we had earlier. And I will outline the teeth in black. The one thing that we're not outlining in black is the cheeks. We're gonna do those in orange because it looks a little bit better that way. Now, if you don't want to come up with your own face expression, you can just copy this easier smiley face one. That's fine too. But I think it's important to challenge yourself if you can. If it's too easy, then you're not learning as much. All right, there we go. We're missing the nose. That looks off without a nose. And let me fish out a orange marker for the cheeks. Okay, now we've got some obvious things that we need to color in, like the brown pants. So this will just take a minute. All right, don't forget that the arms are yellow as well. The arms and the upper portion of the legs. Now you can see we put that black on first, so it's spreading into the yellow and turning it a little bit greenish. Oh well. The upper portion of the legs. And the socks have little stripes on them. There's a black stripe, blue, and red. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip that for now. Got the shoes filled in with black. This black is starting to run out. All right, well, I've got that black out. I'll add those black stripes onto the socks. And we are closing in. I don't want to forget that line that I drew under the teeth would look nice in orange rather than black. Okay, blue marker. Where does the blue go? There's not a whole lot of blue, just around the eyes. A stripe on the socks. And we need some red. Red. Where's the red? My red has disappeared. Here we go. Okay, red tie. And a red stripe on the socks. That should do it. Thank you guys for following along. Can't wait to see your results. And I'll see you next time. Have fun. Thanks. Bye.